This is the Miller philosopher. As you all know, Boromir has always struck me as being the most tragic character of the Fellowship. He's one of the strongest, but also equally the most flawed. And that's exactly why so many of us love him. Because despite that frailty and that weakness, he eventually overcomes it and succeeds in being the hero that he always saw himself to be. Yet, he's still the first to fall to the ring's influence, and yet, we also never really get to see what Boromir with the ring would have been like, aside from when he attacks Frodo trying to take the ring from him, and a hint from Faramir, his brother, who says that if Boromir had taken the ring and returned to Gondor, he would have been a completely different person, and I've always wondered, well, what the hell does that mean? So my thoughts are that Boromir with the ring would kind of start out at least as a quieter and somewhat less boastful person, at first at least, but is much more restless, agitated, fidgety, like something is gnawing at him from the inside, conflicting with him, but he still believes in the righteousness of his cause, still clinging to the idea that saving Gondor means saving the rest of Middle-earth. But when he gets denied, then what he feels that he needs, that conviction, would then twist into violence, into desperation. And I think that we see a picture of this in the character of Paul Atreides in the Dune movies. Because both characters start out with strong convictions and heirs to powerful dynasties with the fate of their worlds on their shoulders. Paul begins as a strong but naive boy, watching his house fall on Arrakis and barely surviving the desert, haunted by dreams of a future he doesn't fully understand, and eventually grows into a war leader, worshipped as a messiah, yet he resists that role, until the war, and fate, if you will, force him to embrace it, until survival demands it. And once he drinks the water of life and inherits the visions of his ancestors with their memories and experiences, along with the atomic weapons of his family, he then crushes the Harkonnens and takes over the universe, but at the cost of his empathy. And I think that is what Boromir would look like with the One Ring. A man who no longer hesitates to use people, who loses that empathy that he had even while being a part of the Fellowship and arguably kind of being a dick at times, who becomes unhinged under the weight of that power and responsibility. He would seize Gondor before his father was ready to give it to him, probably surprising him because his father always quite literally worshipped him, the successor that he wished he could have been, the man who could be the king of Gondor if not for the rules and traditions. And, moreover, no one would resist Boromir because he wouldn't tolerate it anymore. Because Boromir would believe that what he was doing must be done to defeat Sauron and to secure Middle-earth's future. You have to break a few eggs to make an omelet, as it were. And, as time would go on, I see Boromir eventually falling deeper and deeper into this obsession, not seeing what it's turning him into a new tyrant of Middle-earth. I see him leading crusades against Gondor's enemies and forcing them to become allies to bend to his knee or to be cast aside, possibly even as slaves like his ancestors the Númenóreans did. All of this while the ring continues to eat away at him. And by the end of it all, he either vanishes into the shadows as a ring wraith, or wages a new round of wars against the very people who once saw him as a savior, his own people of Gondor, who would arguably turn against him, seeing that he was becoming more and more like Sauron than any of their past kings, until they see him as the next Sauron or the next Morgoth. And that's how Paul Atreides helps me imagine Boromir's fate, helps me to visualize it and what it would look like had he taken the One Ring and lived. But let me know your own thoughts below. This is Miller Philosopher. Have a good day.